Everyone, this is my first live, so bear with me. I hope you're doing well. My name is Mr. A1C, and this channel is about reversing diabetes type 2. I've been able to reverse my diabetes type 2 on my own, just doing my own research and things like that. And I've always wanted to share this with other people. So now that I've reversed it, I have the information that you need to reverse your diabetes type 2 as well. And hopefully I can help you. There's nothing I'm looking to gain out of this. In terms of um, monetary value or anything like that. All I'm looking to do, guys, is just share my information with you guys. So there's nothing to buy here, nothing to do. But what I would like you to do is share, like, and subscribe, and make sure other people that have diabetes or type 2 diabetes or are struggling with their blood sugar know about this channel, because this is not a medical channel. We're not discussing anything medically related. What we're discussing is my journey, and hopefully my journey will help you in your journey. So today's live, this is my first live, so just bear with me. It's going to be just an open forum discussion. We're going to just kind of ramble on and talk about a few things, and talk about diabetes. We'll talk about, what causes diabetes, and we'll just go from there. I mean, if you guys have something to say, just pop it in the chat, and we'll go from there. All right, so diabetes, it's a situation where you have too much glucose in your body and you become insulin resistant, meaning your body does not want to take that glucose and put it where it needs to be. So it's flowing freely in your bloodstream, and that's not a good thing. So it's like anything. Too much of anything is good, because your body needs glucose. Your brain uses glucose to process. As you're listening to me right now, you're using glucose, or chatting, you're probably using glucose. So anything that you do, your body needs glucose. It's the fuel for the body. But like anything, if too much of it is not a good thing. So that causes type 2 diabetes, and you end up with, you start off as a pre-diabetic, and the magic number is 110. You don't want to go over 110, but pre-diabetics start off and they're right around the 110-ish, or right over, or right under, somewhere around there, as I mentioned in the past. And then you gradually progress into being a full-blown diabetic. So this channel is really about dealing with that issue and reversing it in a natural way, using natural, everyday components or foods, because they say your food is your medicine, and it really is, because diabetes is really something. Type 2 diabetes is really something that wasn't around forever. They used to call it adult onset diabetes. So I guess we're getting to the point where we're figuring out that this type 2 diabetes thing is not genetically, or at least 100% a genetic problem, like a lot of other health issues that we're having, especially as you get a little bit older. They're finding that it is reversible, and it is tied to processed food. So another word, or my term that I've coined for this is called processed food disease. Let's see here what's going on. And happy Easter, by the way, for those of you that celebrate Easter. So this is an Easter morning type 2 diabetes blood sugar reversal discussion. So because it's Easter, everyone's going to get together with their families and things like that, and you're going to be eating and enjoying yourself. And in this channel, we don't say no to desserts. We don't say no to carbohydrates. Everything that everyone tells you, or you've heard in the past, there are some truths to that, and there are some things that aren't true. So as you go to the doctor, they'll tell you, get off the carbohydrates and all that good stuff. Well, your body needs carbohydrates, and there's certain ways to deal with carbohydrates and things like that, because your body sees those carbohydrates, your flours and your pasta and those kinds of things, bread and all that good stuff, as sugar. It's no different from sugar. And although sugar is lower on a glycemic index, which is something we as diabetics use to gauge what's edible for us or what's healthy for us, or what's going to keep our blood sugar low or reduce our blood sugar, um, sugar is still bad for you. So that's stuff you put in your coffee, stuff in your desserts and everything like that. So as everyone gets together with their families for Easter, you go, I guess you're going to go to church or whatever it is you're going to do and get together after and eat. Just know that this channel is not about things that are off limits. We're not going to say you can't have this or you can't have that. Well, you can't have it. And one thing I learned that I had a hard time learning is moderation. Moderation is one of the keys to success here. Moderation, discipline, and understanding there are alternate things that you can do, not changing what you eat, but how you eat. So, an example is, I don't eat white rice. I might eat brown rice, but I will eat wild rice, which is really not rice, but it tastes great. It has a nice nutty flavor to it. So this is how I think, and this is what has gotten me to the point where I was able to reverse my high blood sugar levels. I think I'm at 5.3 or something like that last time I checked or something. But what I've done is I used to check my blood sugar, my fasting blood sugar every morning. And again, your fasting blood sugar is that 8 to 10 hour or 8 or more hour time that you have not eaten anything, because I do intermittent fasting, which I talked about on the last video. So from 6:30 at night to 10:30 the next morning, I don't eat anything. So I check my blood sugar every morning, once a day. And obviously, some of you may have to check your blood sugar more often, but that is what I did, because as we all know, this diabetic test strips and Lances and all that stuff, it does not come cheap, especially when you're checking your blood sugar multiple times a day. But that's kind of how I, recorded all that information. And I have an app on my phone. I have multiple apps that I use to record that information. But in addition to my blood sugar, I tested. I would check my blood pressure as well, because diabetes is tied to metabolic syndrome, which is your blood sugar, cholesterol, blood pressure. So those kinds of things, they come in threes, like we've always mentioned in the previous videos. So I would check my blood sugar every morning, and based on what my blood sugar was, that would help me determine the cause and effect of what I ate the previous day. And this is something you can do yourself. I mean, it takes a long time. It's taken me a long time to figure this stuff out, guys, because everyone's telling you to do this, do that, whatever. I'm not telling you to do anything. What I'm telling you to do is use a logical approach to figuring out what works and what doesn't work for you. And hopefully I can cut that in half and you can work smarter instead of harder. I had to work harder to figure it out for myself. No one told me. So all the little tidbits I've read all over the place, and I've watched where other people have said, this is a miracle cure for type 2 diabetes. I've taken it with a grain of salt, and I've used my own method to figure this out for myself. Because I'm a big fan of trust but verify. I don't blindly trust anything anyone tells me. And I recommend you don't blindly trust anything I tell you. Anything I tell you, you verify it. And if you need to go to your doctor, your nurse practitioner, your physician's assistants, your MD or your DO, you go there and you talk to them about it. Some of them are better versed than others. But eventually you will get the information. Or if you have any questions of me, you can leave it in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer any of those questions that you have if I have the knowledge. I will give you my perspective, of course. I'm not a doctor. I am a nurse, however. I did go to school to be an RN, but I don't practice as a nurse. So I have that medical background. But that medical background is very limited in the knowledge that you need to be successful, in my opinion. It's just part of the overall piece of the pie. So I give you all these little slices, take all the little slices, put it together, and you have a giant pie. And we all, I don't know about you, but I love pie. I love desserts. So let's go back to this morning thing. Every morning I check my blood sugar. It's one of the things I check in the morning. And I adjust based on that. So some of the things I discussed with you in the previous videos were some ingredients that I use in my foods and things like that. We talked about turmeric, which is curcumin, which is a miracle spice. We talked about fiber. I think fiber is the number one thing you have to look at. So I use psyllium fiber, and it has to be unsweetened or sugar-free, guys. So take a look at that stuff. Start incorporating that. So the way my day would go about is I'd put all my diabetes concoction together, and I'd have a drink that I would drink. In fact, here it is right here. You know, I walk around with this drink all day long, and I may look funny doing it, but guess what? Keeps my blood sugar low, and it's fine. And we'll get into that. We'll get into what the drink is and what's in, you know, all the different ingredients in the drink and stuff like that. But I'm going to break it down one at a time for you guys. And, you know, once we get towards the latter part of the channel, we'll start talking about how to combine all of this, because the problem is just telling you to combine all this stuff doesn't work. I got to tell you what it is, how it works, how it doesn't work, the pros and the cons of everything. And then we put it all together, and then you can figure out how this is going to work for you. So yeah, I go back to checking my blood sugar once a day. I do my fasting, my 10:30 to 6:30 eating in the daytime. So 10:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. is when I eat. And I just use a lot of common sense, guys. So we talked about fiber. Fiber is the big deal here. So everything I eat, there's fiber. So the fiber goes in my drink. This one doesn't have it because I haven't had breakfast yet. But trust me, when I have breakfast, this is my fiber is going to be in here. So the first thing I do is I drink my fiber. And when I drink my fiber, that creates that gel that we talked about. That coats your stomach, that creates that barrier. So whatever sugar you have does not penetrate the barrier, or does it slowly, because the key here is it's not stopping the sugar, it's the sugar spike that occurs, the insulin spike. So that's the key. So we don't want any sharp insulin spikes. We want it to gradually go up and gradually go down. So that's what I try to accomplish daily, guys. So as you're out there with your family today and doing things, think about this. Let's do some common sense and say, okay, I'm going to have this and that and whatever. Have your dessert. Have those kinds of things. Have those things in moderation. But make sure you have your fiber first, because fiber is going to help blunt that blood sugar spike and get you on the right track to lowering your blood sugar and reversing your type 2 diabetes. Enjoy your Easter. And we'll talk about all the lifestyle changes you have to make. On this channel, we don't make giant changes. These are small changes. And I don't say that, you know, I can't have cake, or I can't have rice, so I can't have pasta. I can have all of these things, and I still reverse my type 2 diabetes. And so can you, for the most part. You're going to have to check with your doctor. You're going to have to see what works for you, because what works for me may not work for you guys. But that's my spiel, my Easter spiel for you guys. And